I love that tune at the top there. Just need a bit of beatbox rhythm to go with that now. We're all right. Got a theme tune for the movement. Comrades, Barak, black activists rising against the cuts. Of course these cuts are going to disproportionately impact upon black communities. We occupy the bottom social economic strata along with poor communities, and we will see these cuts rip those communities apart. Our communities are going to be obliterated by these cuts. Unemployment, there's a 16-point gap between black and white unemployment. If we look at youth unemployment, the IPPR said that the increase in black youth unemployment in 6 months between July 2009 and January 2010 went from 35% to 48%. What do we think it is now? It's gone up to 55% and is increasing further. These are going to cause untold misery on people's lives right throughout the country. Comrades, this movement for coalition of resistance has to be one that places equalities at the forefront of the struggle against the cuts. It has to be a movement. It has to be a movement that represents Muslim communities, black communities, people with disabilities. I heard a tale just today of somebody who went on a march, a disabled person in a wheelchair, and was spotted on the news. And the benefit people said, if you can go on a march, you're fit to work, and took that person's benefit away. We're talking about a malicious, vindictive government that is conducting a bloody class war for which we are the victims and we are the intended contributors. This crisis wasn't caused by us. We're not all in this together. This was the reckless casino gambling of greedy bankers who sought to fill their boots on the international market. But when the time comes to pay the bill, they want to put their hand in our pocket to maintain their luxurious lifestyle. That's like being robbed in your own home, suffering a burglary, seeing your whole house trashed, your goods taken. The police come around and arrest the perpetrator of the crime, and you go to court to get justice, and the judge says, I sentence you to 5 years in prison for burglary, and turns to you and said, and I give you 3 years for not putting locks on the doors in your windows and your house. It is absolutely unbelievable that this government would think it could get away with seeking to target poor communities in this way. And of course, when the economy is suffering, when jobs and houses become scarce, racism begins to rise. You know that the BNP and the EDL are sharpening their arguments now in order to go to certain communities and say the reason you haven't got a job is because of those black bastards like Jasper taking up the employment queue. The reason why you can't get a house is because some Somalians are moving in down the road after being forced relocation from these housing benefit changes that are actually trying to socially re-engineer the inner cities. I'll tell you why, because they knew that black people won't vote for the Tory party. They knew they didn't get a victory in Parliament because of black and working class, and now they're trying to socially re-engineer those inner cities to turn them from red to blue. We can't have that, comrades. It's only now that we're seeing the state racism being given a complete green light by this government. Look at the brutal murder by Group 4 on Jimmy Mbenga and the horror that man had to go through after being forcibly restrained and deported. And when the economy dips, racism rise, racist attacks will go on, the right wing will seek to get a momentum out of it and convince others that we are the scapegoats, we are to blame. Well, I agree with the motions of this conference in saying to this government that this is a defining moment in British political history, that we either all now stand together or we sink together. Let's take this fight to the government. Let's not allow them to scapegoat. Protect your local black communities, and let's stand in anti-racist unity against these cuts.